All right. Well, ladies, being here on a Monday morning, and welcome to your 9 a.m. begin class. I'm Danielle, so I am one of the instructors here, and super excited. I love it. I tend to go pretty chill, pretty easy, but my training is in vinyasa, so like if I get rolling too fast, definitely okay to be like, hey, can we take it down to the mat? Can we take it slower? That being said, do you guys want to work on anything in particular today? Just,
I'm still very new, so.
okay. So no one is like, I'm dying for hip openers, or I want to do shoulder stuff.
Maybe strength for arms?
Yeah. Okay. Always chat on this. Well, anything you guys want to do? Pretty good? Are you guys muted? I probably muted you. You're good? Okay. You guys can always unmute yourselves too if you want to holler at me for something. All right, well, we are going to start in child's pose. So for child's pose, bring your knees wide to the edge of the mat. Bring your big toes to touch. And send your hips back to your heels. You can reach your hands forward. And if this feels okay, you can stay here. If you want to rest your forehead on the mat, you can. Or a block. If you're at home and you don't have yoga blocks, stacks of books are awesome. If you like the feeling of bringing the floor up to meet you, that's what I usually use blocks for. Take some time in your child's pose to notice your breath. And don't feel like you have to change anything about it, but just notice if it's fast or if it's slow, if it's deep or if it's shallow. And maybe as you focus in on your breath, bringing your awareness to it, maybe it does start to even out a little bit. Maybe your inhales start to match your exhales. Maybe as you listen to your breath, it might sound like the waves of the ocean washing up onto the sand, washing back out again. While you're here in your child's pose, connecting with your breath, take a moment and choose something that you would like to dedicate your yoga practice to. And it could be yourself, you know what I'm saying? This is something that I'm doing for my self-care. This is my time, and I'm dedicating this to the care of myself. Or you might dedicate your practice to someone else or something else bigger than yourself. But whatever the reason is that you're choosing to do this today, I want to give you that option to make this a yoga practice of life. And we're going to slowly start to move from your child's pose. Walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. So you can stay kind of in a child's pose, and you might not have to go very far, but go until you start to feel a little bit of a side stretch. Just starting very gentle. And take a few breaths here. Walk your hands back to center and over to the right side. You might feel this in different places. You might feel it in your hip or in your shoulder or along the ribcage. And it might be different for both sides too, depending on where you're at today in the body. That's okay. We are not very symmetrical beings, and sometimes I have to remind myself to be okay with that. But when you feel a little bit even and balanced out, walk your hands back to center. Move your hands back and then press up into a tabletop position. And from your tabletop, we're going to move through a few cat-cows. Make sure your shoulders are stacked over your wrists and your hips are stacked over your knees. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone. Bring your gaze upward, and exhale. Round your spine in the opposite direction. Let your head hang completely loose. And inhale again, drop the belly. Really draw the shoulders back and away from the ears. And exhale to cat. Move through with your own breath. Inhale to cow. Exhaling to cat. And we'll go for 3 more breaths. Moving with your unique breath timing. When you've finished your 3rd cow and your 3rd cat, come to a neutral spine. Let your back be flat. And from here, we are going to move into our first downward facing dog. So you want to tuck your back toes, move your hands, one handprint forward on the mat, and spread them nice and wide so that you can press down through each of your knuckles into the mat, kind of like starfish. And then when you're ready, lift your knees, lift your hips, and you can pedal out your down dog, straighten one leg and then the other. And your legs may or may not be completely straight in your down dog. Your heels may or may not be down on the floor, and that's okay. But bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can press your heart towards your thighs. You want to create one long line from your wrists to your shoulders to your hips. And from your down dog, gaze forward to the spot on the mat between your hands, and baby step, tiptoe your feet all the way between your hands. And you're hanging down in a forward fold. Let everything hang loose. Let your arms hang loose. Let your head hang loose. You can shake your head yes. Shake your head no. You can swing your arms side to side if that feels good. And we're slowly going to roll out to standing, but take your time and let your head hang loose to the very end. As you roll up, almost think about stacking one vertebra on top of the last. And letting your head float up. You can set your shoulders down, back. In the mountain pose, you can have your hands shining forward. You can let them hang down by your sides, whatever feels good to you. And take a minute to set up your stance. For some people, they feel much more stable and rooted with their feet hip width apart, which is about 2 fist widths apart. Or, for me, for some reason, I really like having my toes touching and my heels just a little bit apart. So find your footing in mountain and really ground down into the mat. You can lift your toes, you can play with shifting your weight back and forth into the balls of your feet, into your heels. Until you kind of find that sweet spot in the middle where you're really like, yeah, I think someone could try to come tackle me and I might not fall over. You have some stability and you feel like you can send the energy down into the earth. At the same time, you feel lifted through the crown of the head, almost like there's a string connected to your head, drawing you upwards and elongating your spine. Take a full breath here. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Now your next inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Come to extended mountain. You can even take a little mini back bend here. And as you exhale, bring your hands through heart center down to a forward fold. From your forward fold, a minute, let everything get loosey-goosey, and then start to engage your core. We're only going to come up to a halfway lift, so your hands can come to your shins or your thighs. And squeeze your shoulder blades back and together. Suck your belly button into your spine, and your gaze is straight down at the floor so that you're making one long line from your hips to your head. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. We're going all the way to extended mountain. And exhale, forward fold. We're going to start to warm up a little bit here. So from your forward fold, plant your hands on the mat, fingers nice and wide, and we're going to step back to a high plank. And you've got options here. So you can be in a push-up position, or you can do it from your knees, because your back is exactly the same. You're still engaging your core the same. So option B on the knees. We're going to lower down all the way to the mat. Squeeze your elbows into your rib cage. And then completely come down, belly to the floor. You're going to come up in a little cobra pose. So you don't have to put a lot of weight in your hands. As you inhale, feel your chest up off the mat for a little mini back bend. And then release. This time, as you chest lifted off the ground. You can set your forearms and elbows on the mat, so you're coming to kind of a sphinx pose. You can keep it pretty low if that feels good for your back, because this can be a more extreme back bend. But you can also adjust it by moving your elbows farther away from you. And take a moment to check in with your hips and your legs. You know, in yoga we do a lot of hip openers, which is great. Hip openers are great. Something that I find I neglect is my lower back. And I'll feel it when I'm sitting at a desk and when I'm driving in the car. And so my little trick for the low back is to turn your toes in towards each other a little bit. And yeah, and you kind of wiggle around, snake around a little bit. And yeah, if I feel my low back getting tight, this is my trick. And if it feels good, you can stay here for a little minute. If this is not feeling so good to you, then you can just have the tops of your feet flat on the mat. And you can find a sphinx pose that feels good. And we'll stay here for 3 more breaths. You're ready to move. You can bring your hands back under your shoulders, tap your toes, and we're coming up through the tabletop, back to a downward facing dog. And you might need another minute to pedal out a little bit. And then inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step your feet between your hands for a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Move your hands to the shins or the thighs. Exhale, forward fold. Big move, sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Coming to extended mountain. And exhale, forward fold. And we're going to do our first chaturanga. Is everybody good? Pretty good for chaturangas? Yes. Yes? You guys pretty good? Okay. Just holler at me if you want to break it down. From here, place your hands on mat. Step one foot back and then the other. Come into your high plank. From your high plank, lower down into a low plank. Squeezing your elbows into your rib cage. Lift your feet. Inhale to an upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. You always have the option to take chaturanga on your knees. And you can always do a cobra instead of an up dog so that your legs are down on the mat. That feels better. So you always have that option. From your downward dog, I'm going to move a little bit faster. Inhale, exhale, step your feet between your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead, extend the mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Place your hands up mat. Step back to a high plank. Use your chaturanga, high plank to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step the hands through. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms overhead, first in the mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Lift the hands on the mat, step back, high plank to low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. From here you can come back into a child's pose. If this is a good resting pose for you. Or you can come seated, whatever feels good. I know when I first started doing yoga, I was like, how are these resting poses? 'Cause child's pose and down dog. Down dog is supposed to be a resting pose. And that was not the case for me, especially with tight hips. So always have the option to opt out of that, whatever is feeling good to you. And, sometimes I either do a more restorative child's pose where the legs are together and my arms are going to the sides, because that would be a little less hip intense. And you might need to play around with it and find what your resting pose is. But yeah, I thought it was a little wacky at first. I'm going, I don't feel like I'm resting. So, you'll find your resting pose. And it's also a good time. Oh, I forgot to drink some water. It's a good time for water. Are you okay with this heater, or it's fine? If it gets too hot, holler at me. All right. From here, if you're in a child's pose, you can come on up to tabletop or meet a tabletop. And we're going to come into dragonfly, which looks a little bit like a kneeling side angle, but I'll show you guys. The easiest way is just to step right into it. So you take your right foot, lunge it between your hands, and then it's a bit of a twist. And it's an inside twist, so you're twisting towards your front leg. You're going to keep your left hand down on the mat or on a block or fingertips towards the mat. Lift up your right hand and twist towards your front leg. And it really doesn't need to be a very intense twist. If this feels intense to you, you can take the right forearm to the thigh,
My weight on this foot. Where do I put my weight on this foot?
Your weight should really be even between this foot and that knee. So if you feel like you're putting too much weight in the front, maybe step that front foot forward so that your knee is right over your ankle. Give yourself a little more space. This is a really good place to feel your breath, because you can really feel your rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath. And release that hand down to the mat. Send the front foot back and shake it out a little bit if you want to. Coming back to tabletop, and then we'll do it on the opposite side. So lunge your left leg between your hands. You can keep your hand or your fingertips on the mat on the inside of your front foot, and then when you're ready, lift up that left arm. And your gaze can be upward at the ceiling, or it can be down at the ground, or it can be out straight in front of you. Whatever feels good on your neck, really. And as you breathe and you're feeling the extension of your rib cage, don't think about forcing the twist, but as you inhale, make space, and as you exhale, you might drop deeper into the twist. Take one more breath, full inhale, and exhale. And bring that hand down. Send the front foot back. Shake it out. Shake it out. Shake it out. And take whatever organic movements you need. Whatever feels good here. Alright. And then this one is called gate pose. You might need to turn sideways on your mat. I'll show you where we're going for gate pose. This time, instead of bringing the foot in front of you, you're going to bring your right foot out to the side. And then rise up. From here, if you want to stay here, you can. If you would like to get a side body stretch, you can bring your arms up overhead and then reach over towards your straight leg. So out towards the right.
I really like this one.
I neglect my side stretches, and when I get to them, I love them so much.
So I think here too. It's nice.
If you find your shoulder rotating in, it's okay to pull that shoulder back and come up a little bit. Once you find that sweet spot, just enjoy the lengthening all the way from your fingertips, through your armpit, your rib cage, all the way down to your hip. And on your next inhale, let that top arm draw you up. And then you can release that leg back to center. And we'll switch sides. Bringing your left leg out straight. And see if you can really press the knife edge of that straight foot, the straight leg foot, onto the mat. It feels a little wonky, but you want to make sure that not all your weight is in your right leg and your knee. Let's see if you can shift some weight into that foot, if that makes sense. When you're ready, inhale your arms up overhead. And then reach over to the left, over the straight leg. Enjoying that nice side body stretch. Two more breaths. And come back to center. Release the arms down. Bring that leg back into center. And do what you need to shake it all out. And I had planned to do eagle. How do you guys feel about eagle? We're doing balance pose today.
I have no idea what that is.
Awesome, let's do it. I'm so excited now. All right. So for eagle, you're going to want to come onto standing. And you can also, if you're at home, you can have a chair by you, you can have a wall by you. I use the wall all the time for balance stuff. And for eagle, we start with the arms. It's a standing balance, but we start with the arms. And you've got some options here. So option number one is to cross your right arm under your left arm. And then, and you bend your elbows. Yep, you got it. And then you just try and bring the palms together. If this is not your jam, you put your hands on your shoulders, give yourself a hug. And that's sometimes all you need to you get a really good stretch through the back of the shoulders there. So it kind of depends on the day, depends on your body, but you decide where you want your eagle arms. If you do have, well, actually either way, however you have your arms, you want to see if you can lift your elbows. And if you do have your hands coming together, see if you can push your hands away from your face so that you're not kind of crumpled up like this, but that you're really creating some extension in the back of the shoulders. So however you want your eagle arms, get your eagle arms. Now comes the fun part. I'll do this just so you don't see my face. So the fun part is getting rooted on your mat and then shifting your weight into your left foot. Since we went right arm underneath, we're going to go right leg over. So see if you can pick up your right toes and cross your right leg over your left. And I tend to bend my knee a lot so that I have a lot of, what do you call that, wiggle? I don't know. Yeah, wiggles. And you can set your toes down like that and create like a kickstand for yourself, or you can go for the full breath and try to get that foot all the way around your leg.
That's fancy.
Wherever you're at with your ego, you find your eagle of awesomeness. And I always think of this like wringing out a washcloth, because poses like this that are very, they kind of tighten all the muscles, but you remind yourself to breathe, for sure. Because it can be very easy to be like, I'm holding it, but you're holding your breath too. But things like this are so good for your lymph system, which is a passive system and relies on breath and muscle constriction to pump lymph. So it's good for your lymph, it's good for your immune system. And we are going to unwrap, so you can release your foot back, release your hands. And if you want to, you can take a big stretch and release everything down. Since we did it on one side, I have to do it on the other side. So this time for eagle arms, we're going to bring the left arm under the right. You can bring your hands together or just find whatever you want to do. And then shift your weight into your right foot, grounding down into the mat. Start to lift weight of your left foot, cross your left foot over right. You bend that right knee so it's got a lot of give, it's able to compensate and help you balance. When I teach kids yoga, this is their favorite part because when they get to let everything go, I tell them to fly their eagle. So we're going to get ready to fly as we unwrap. Yeah, unwrap your leg, unwrap your arms, and fly your eagle.
I like that visual.
Oh, and I think we're going to take it on down to the mat. So we're going to be seated for a minute. If you prefer to have something under your hips, like a blanket or a block, then you can do that. But we're just going to come into a cobbler's pose for a little bit. And you can play with your cobbler's pose and decide how far you want your heels from your body. And just let the natural weight of your legs falling open create that inner thigh stretch. stay here if this feels good for your legs. If this doesn't feel good for your legs, you can also put blocks, blankets, pillows, canned food from your pantry. I don't know, you can stack it all up under your knees and give it a little bit of support. Because you definitely don't want to feel strained. Now, if you feel good here, stay here. If you feel like changing up the intensity, then you can start to reach your heart forward towards your feet. And if this feels good, you can stay here. If you want to collapse all the way forward and surrender onto your legs, you can do that. But only as long as it still feels gentle, it still feels good in your legs. I've been through far too many PE classes where, with some gym teacher wanted us to do butterfly, go forward farther, farther, farther. That's not the way to respect your body. And so find your sweet spot that works for you. Once you're in the pose for a few minutes, you might feel your body telling you to move a little bit. You might hear your body saying, oh, we can collapse forward a little bit more. Or your body might be saying, hey, we've been here for a while, why don't we come out a little bit? So listen to what your body is telling you. Take another full deep breath in this posture, inhaling and exhaling. And slowly let your inhale bring you back up if you were folded forward. And since you were in this pose for a long time, take your sweet time coming out of it. Maybe you can use your hands to bring your knees together. Since you've really given your muscles a chance to relax. You can stretch out your legs, you can shake them out if that feels good, you can chill like we're in the back and forth. And then the next pose we move into is going to be boat pose. So we're going to move down onto our bellies, and you can get there however you want to get there. I promise I'm not watching. Mine isn't going to be very graceful either. Once you're down on your belly for boat pose, now we're going to do one leg at a time, and then we're going to try both if you want to. But I like to just bend one knee and sort of check out how tight my quads are. Usually they're pretty tight, and I can feel it when I do this. And then you can bend the other knee. And I'll usually start with reaching the same hand to foot. So if I've got my right foot lifted in the air, I'm going to reach my right hand back. And if you can grab your foot, great. If you don't grab your foot, you can use a strap or a towel. If you don't have that handy, that's okay. You can just energetically reach that hand back towards the foot. Because that's really what counts anyway, is that energetic feeling. But if you've got hold of the foot, then you can hold the foot. and start to kind of bring that heel towards you. And switch sides when you're ready. Reaching the left hand back towards the left foot. Now that we've got our quads woken up a little bit, if you want to stick to one leg, you can. If you want to go for both, you can. When you do come into boat pose, and you grab a hold of one or both feet, you're going to lift the chest up off the mat, pull the shoulders back like you do when you're coming into cobra, and then kick the tops of the feet into the hands. So you're not necessarily bringing those heels in towards your butt, but you're kicking into your hands. So it's like a bow and arrow, making yourself into the shape of a bow. If you really want to have fun, not going for it, and then make yourself seasick. But yeah, give it a try. You can try it with, if 2 feet does not feel good, you can try it with 1 foot and still go for the lift to the chest and kicking into the hand, or kicking towards the hand, just creating that feeling energetically. And if you did 1 foot, switch sides, so that you can do the other foot. You do with both feet, keep rocking it. And release everything down to the ground. Wiggle, wiggle. An option to go for it one more time. You're just like, hey, that was super juicy and I want to do it one more time. Go for it. Take a hold of those feet. Inhale, pull your chest up off the mat. Kick your feet into your hands. And if you're like, that was not super juicy, Danielle, I'm done, then that's fine too. And release everything down to the mat. From here, we're gonna get set up for kind of our final part of the yoga class where we wind down and get ready for Shavasana. So we're gonna move on to our backs. If you want to just flip over onto your back from here, you can do that. If you want to completely turn around so that your head's at the front of the mat, you can do that, whatever makes you comfy. And once you find your way onto your back, bring your right knee up into your chest, followed by your left knee. If you want to, you can rock side to side a little bit, or you can make circles with your hips. For some people, this doesn't feel good on your low back. For other people, it feels like an amazing massage. You can switch, go in circles around the other side. And we're going to take a happy baby. So for a happy baby, you're going to bring your knees into your armpits and take a hold of your feet. You can take a hold of the outside of your feet or grab your big toes with your 2 peace fingers. And then pick your feet up towards the ceiling. So you want to imagine that your feet are, if you could reach all the way up to the ceiling, your feet would be flat on the ceiling. At the same time, bend your knees Draw your knees in towards your body. And again, you can take some little rolls here. You can straighten one leg and then the other if you would like to. And then bring your knees back into your chest. And extend your left leg out down to the mat. Let it float all the way down. And draw your right knee across your body so that we're coming into a supine twist. You can tee out your arms to the sides if you want. And your gaze can go to either side if you want a gentler twist. You can keep your gaze going over towards the left along with your knee. If you want to intensify the twist a little bit, you can gaze over your right fingertips. And check in with your breath here. If you stopped breathing, definitely start breathing again. If you are using your Ujjayi breath, your even inhales through the nose and exhales through the nose, see if you can relax that back into a more normal breath pattern. Just so it's more relaxed. And slowly bring your gaze back to center. Use your hands to bring that right knee back to center. And draw the left knee up to join it. Give both knees a little hug. Then you can let the right leg slide down onto the mat. As you draw your left knee across your body and tee out your arms again. And if this side isn't feeling as great as it did on the other side, that's okay. You can kind of adjust. you might need a little bit more time on this side than the first side. You might need a little less time. But again, listen to your body. Move when it says you're ready to move. When you're ready, you can bring your knees back to center. Drawing that left one up into your chest, followed by right. And take any last minute movements or poses that you want to before we find our final Shavasana. If you want to take some more rock and rolls with your legs, if you want to stretch out long for a big good morning stretch, you can point your toes, reach your hands over your head. And let everything go loose. When you set up for your Shavasana, you can be on your back with your hands down by your sides if that feels good to you. You can have one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. You can grab blankets or sweatshirts and make yourself a pillow. Whatever feels good to you. And this is your chance to thank your body for the hard work that it does for you. Not only the hard work in yoga class, but every day, all day, from the time that you get out of bed to the time that you go to sleep at night. This is a chance to rest and reset. As you enter this period of rest, notice if there's any areas of your body that are still feeling tight, that are feeling pain or feeling tension. And imagine as you breathe in clean, fresh air, that you're breathing in towards those areas of tension or pain. It comes into your body through your nose, through your lungs, like a light, like bright sunlight. And as you exhale, that tension, that pain melts away. Every breath into your body brings light and purpose. And every breath out takes away the things that you don't need to carry with you. The things your body doesn't need. Start to deepen your breathing. Bring awareness back to your body slowly by starting to bring some movement into the fingers and toes. Just small movements at first. And you can roll your wrists and your ankles. And taking your time very slowly when you're ready to roll over onto your right side with your knees drawn in towards your belly. Use your arms as a pillow. If you want to, while you're here, you can leave your eyes closed, or you can start to blink your eyes open and let in a little bit of daylight. And using your hands to press yourself up, slowly, gently, bring yourself into an easy, comfortable sitting position. Take one last inhale and exhale, side out. Thank you all so much for doing yoga with me on a Monday morning. The light in me sees, honors, and revokes the light in all of you. Namaste. Everybody still okay? Thanks for joining. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.